Hey, everybody.
You made it back.
We did make it back. Hey, John boy.
What's going on, bud?
It's 1 o'clock. So get a haircut, John. That looks nice.
Thanks. It's my going away for 6 weeks haircut, so because I'm not going to be able to find a barber.
Yep.
Joining the Marines?
I know, right?
Can't beat those Flobies. All right. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to Denny Grimes, Master of Real Estate, and co-host is John McLeod, a.k.a. The Voice. And I have something special for you today because we're not going to be meeting next week because of Memorial Day weekend. Yay. I want to cover something I talked about on TV today as my bonus thought of the day. I just finished doing bowl in Pensacola and Destin. That's North Florida, right on the beach, and talked to those agents and other agents we talked to around the country. I went to the news. I do a news spot, and one of the producers there said, "Denny, would you please?" I've had 4 people ask me this question, and all in the same week. Now he's in the news, so these people want to know what's happening. Should I buy or shouldn't I? Now that's going to be a question in some format. I think that if you have not heard it, you're going to hear it. John, do you guys hear that in Naples? There's everybody walk around putting cougar ends in parking meters.
Absolutely. Same question from both sides of the coin, Denny. Should I buy? Should I sell?
Well, if you want to get a hold of us, we've got Coach Denny Grimes at Gmail. If you want to send in a request or a question, and John is monitoring the chat. If you want to comment or send in a scenario, we're going to do role plays. And our goal is going to be, I'd like to take about maybe 8 minutes, no more than 10 minutes, and run through some points that might be helpful for you when you have someone ask you, should I buy or should I not buy? Or really, it's kind of, should I buy or wait? And then I would like to be able to do some role plays. So have your thinking cap on, John, what these might be. And we're going to do them. We'll let other people do them. We'll do them, etc. And keep them in kind of 8 to 10 minute segments, including the discussion, so we can chop them up. I'm in the process of making this a little bit more YouTube friendly, you guys. So not many people want to watch an hour. So I appreciate you being on. And this is how I broke it down. And then you guys give me your blink on this. So the reporter asked me today, everyone's asking a question, is now a good time to own or should I wait? And here's how I break it down. This is how I would answer. Don, I'm just going to pretend like I'm talking to you and you ask me that question. First thing I'd want to know, in fact, does anyone want to take a wild stab at one of the first things you want to know and answer this question? This is a logical process. So what would be the first thing you'd want to know?
Why they want to move?
Why are you asking?
Okay, motivation could be part of it. However, everyone is in 1 or 2 categories when they ask you that question. Motivation is very important. We'll get to that. However, everyone is in 1 or 2 broad categories. What are the categories? Anyone take a wild stab?
Scarcity or success?
Well, it could be. I'll answer. I'll put you out of your misery, you guys. They either own or they rent. Here. Now, I think the answer is different depending on what they do. So, Don, I'm just going to role play with you, and let's just rent, and then we can do it on the own side. So you asked me the question, now's a good time to buy or should you wait? So let me ask you, Don, right now, do you currently own now or do you rent?
No, I'm renting.
I got that. And so let me ask you this question. Is your MO, is your normal mentality, do you play to win or play not to lose?
Well, I'd like to say I play to win.
All right, so winning's important to you then, right? So let me just answer the question whether or not you step into the market now based on a renter. Here's what I know. The odds of a renter winning are very low. Would you like to know why?
Yeah, sure.
John Boy, are you watching these people clicking in?
Yep, I got you.
Are you host? Can you handle that? I mean, you co-host.
Actually, I'm not host, then. I think you need to make me host.
Pardon me. Harvey, just 1 second here, a second. Let me just make John co-host so we can let people in. All right, yes, okay. So the odds are stacked against renters winning, and here's why. Number one, there's a 98% probability that your rent's going to go up this next year. And I'm being gracious, it's probably more like 100%. Would you agree with that, Don?
Yeah, my rent for 4 years was 2,800 and it just went to 4,200.
Got it. Well, there you go. So if you're thinking about winning, we know for sure that your rent's going to go up. Number two, if you rent, what is the probability that you're going to build equity?
0.
Therefore, there's a 100% probability that you won't. Would you agree with that?
I agree. I don't like it, but I agree.
And the last one is this, Don. When you compare people that have owned real estate over the long term versus people that never owned, they just rented, who has fared better?
People that own.
About 100% of the time.
I
So
agree.
do you want to play a game? This is the question I'll ask a renter. Do you want to play a game that you're guaranteed to lose?
No.
Now, all right, so did I get into market stats? Did I get into anything? I mean, I'm just going to stop right there. Give me your blink on how succinct and how effective that answer might be.
Well, I'll answer you. I mean, first of all, you set me up to, you play not to lose or play to win. And I think most people are going to say play to win. So you set me up, right? You teed it up right at the beginning. And it was just natural for me to follow along with you and agree that I'm going to lose.
Is there anyone that maybe they would have any other comment on that? If you're dealing with a renter, listen, write this down. Actually get an airplane and pull it behind the airplane and put your logo on it. Renters are guaranteed to lose. I'll stop right there. Can you think of an exception? There are some exceptions, however, they're very, very minor. Did anyone think of an exception?
Outside of Grant Cardone?
Was he a renter?
Yeah, he doesn't advocate owning real estate personally. He advocates only investing in real estate.
I got it. Well, then he does own real estate, right?
So that's one person out of like 330 million here in the U.S.
Okay, yeah. Yes, who's speaking?
That's James. We had a thing, we just did the Cromford report here in the market, and they're saying that the rental rates are actually leveling off or slightly pulling back in comparison to new home purchase prices that people are able to get into. So what they're trying to say is renting is looking a little more attractive in this market because of the huge increase in prices of the homes for new buyers, especially. Now, not for established people, but most established people already have homes. So
okay,
first-time buyers.
I got it. And so if you're talking to a renter and they say, well, my rent's locked in for 5 years or 50 years, my rent's not going up. All right, so then what's the probability your rent's going to go up? 0. Then what's the probability you're going to build equity? 0. All right, and over the long term, then question 3 still applies. Over the long term, who has fared better, owners or renters? Okay, so any other thoughts on that? I'm going to go to now why I got you, James, on there. You're going to be an owner. And now you ask me the same question. Should I step into the market now or wait? So what do you think? What do you think the first thing we need to know? We already know that he owns. What do you think comes up first now? Because it's how my mind works is like, okay, we have to start getting down to the heart of the matter as fast as we can. What should we be talking? There's three easy questions.
How long have I owned?
Okay, and what would you hope to learn from that?
Well, give me an idea of how much equity you have in the house. If you've been there for a while, you probably have established equity.
Yes. However, could you not ask that question versus just going around the bend?
You sure?
And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying, okay,
Right.
that could be a question. Here is the answer. I have 3 minutes on TV to give my advice. I'll tell you, if you're James, if you own, this is how I'd answer it. It really depends on your why. Now I know that Patricia had mentioned motivation. I think it was Patricia. This is where the motivation is going to come in. If they already own a home and they've owned it for a couple of years at least, maybe even more, have they already participated in the market's growth?
Yes.
Are they kind of playing with the house's money?
Yes.
Okay, so if they decide not to buy another home, at least they're in the game riding the equity elevator up. So they don't have to move. However, if their motivation is because they have a baby coming, or they've got too big a home, they've got a job transfer, et cetera, or they want to raise alpaca and they need a big backyard to do that, you have to then would have to then consider their motive, the why. And so I'm going to ask you guys, is there an economic value on living closer to the kid's school, living closer and watching your grandbabies grow up? Is there not an economic, you could put a figure on that, right?
Yes.
Or maybe it's moving away from someone. Maybe it's moving away from the kids, moving away from the grandkids or the mother-in-law. So that's one. The second thing I said is this, and we've talked about this before, would be that how long they plan on holding the house. And this is what the property. This is what I said on TV, and you can tell me if you agree with it or not. I said, we're talking about winning or losing. And so I could have asked the same question. Do you want to win, James, or do you want to play not to lose?
Oh, I want to play to win.
Okay. And that's a good question. Not that you have to ask it. However, I would say that then here's my blank. If you're talking to someone who's looking for short term, they maybe want to hop in or hop out. Maybe they're a flipper. Maybe they're, I just got finished with, like I said, Pensacola and Destin. A lot of military people there, and military people are in and out maybe a couple of years. This is what I said, and I'm taking a wild guess at this. There's a 50% chance you'll win and a 50% chance you'll lose if you have a short-term horizon. I don't have stats to back that up. I'm just saying, I'm just admitting that it's a coin toss in the short run. If they could buy a house or a property and at least cover the cost of the disposition of 5 or 6 or 7% or whatever you guys charge, plus the closing costs, that may not be able to be done in a year or two or so, right? So I'm conceding that. What percent of the buyers out there, John, do you think are buying for short term or to flip right now?
Denny, the ones I'm working with, very, very few. I mean, single digit percent that I'm working with are looking for a very short term hold. And by short term hold, I would say 18 months or less. So basically they're going in and they're buying, they'll put a renter in there and flip it once they got a renter in there.
Well, they have, if you go to and gamble a lot, they have what they call, as you may know, rated players. The rated players play a lot and they get perks and et cetera. And so they understand their loss, their risk of losing. And some nights they go home losing, they just win more than they lose. So somebody that's going to be in and out will understand the risk of loss. However, the last question I'll ask James is, okay, so, and then anyone can answer this, or James, you can answer it. What do you think your probability of winning if you're going to hold the home long term?
It's good.
Well, how good?
100%.
Well, I mean, if on average, let's say like in Arizona, it was 3% was the average every year. If you took the worst case scenario, we don't get a 30% increase, but if you get 33% over 10 years, I'm winning. I mean,
Yes.
increased in value.
Yes, you are. Hang on, John. Kind of carry that conversation. There's somebody at my door. I know it's rude. 1 second.
All right. So yeah, even if it goes, James, like you said, even if it goes up only 33% over 10 years, you've still won. Now, I have no idea where Denny was going with this, so I'm just going to take the ball and run. So if you're paying rent for 3 years, 5 years, whatever the term is, we all know you get nothing back, right?
Right.
So if property values, James, in this case, if property values went down 5%. And to keep it simple, let's say it's a $500,000 property. 5 years later, the prices went down 5%. Have you won or lost by owning?
Well, I would say you're still winning because you've got the tax advantages of ownership. You've got the depreciation of the home. So there are other factors that are even more so than just the increase in value.
Exactly. Even if the value goes down, you lose $25,000 on it. Over time, that is still less of a loss than throwing 100% of your money away in rent.
Right. All
right, Dan, I had no idea you were going. I just took it and ran.
I know. That was just better than dead air. So that's fine. I appreciate that. I've got somebody looking at my Sonos. Anyway, so here we go. So there's a 100% chance, really. I mean, I'd say 99. This is why I said there's a 99% chance. There's always maybe 1% chance. However, Gary Keller showed in his State of the Company that on a 4% curve, which is normal, anytime during history, except for buying in a bubble, and we're not in a bubble now, on a 4% curve on a 10-year hold, you're gonna be on a 4% growth rate. So what am I saying? They want you to tell them, you know, should they buy now or wait? If they're renting, what's the bottom line if they're renting, you guys?
Buy now.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, if they're guaranteed to lose, and there's no chance of them winning if they rent. If they step into the market, yeah, if they want to step out quickly, they could lose. However, there's a possibility they could win. That's why I asked the question. You want to play not to lose or play to win? My last question then would be this. Is that once you go through that, now you're not going to have to go through the renting part of it and the owner part with each client because they're either going to rent or own. The next thing is this, and I'm going to talk to you. Is that no? I don't. What's your name? And Sherry's coming up, but what's your name? In dark shirt and glasses. You just spoke to me.
Okay, so
Oh.
yeah, there you go.
Willie.
Your name is showing up
Will.
with Sherry on there. So
Oh,
Is it Will?
yeah, it's Willie. We're down here in Colorado Springs. I'm part of the Lauhi group.
Oh, all right, great. Well, here we go. Here's the last question. And that is the bottom line, Willie, what is your greater pain? You own, I've gone through the probabilities that we talked about your big why, the reason you want to move, you're not intending on keeping it in the short run. Therefore, you have a 99% chance of winning in the long run. And the last question is, what is your greater pain? Let's go 1 year forward. What hurts more? You don't step into the market and you watch the market continue to rise. Now you've left potential equity on the table, or you step into the market now and you watch the market decrease. Now your home is worth less a year from now. However, you're not selling it anyway, or even if you had to sell it, that's what you have to do. Which one hurts more, Willie?
Of course, missing out on that opportunity.
Well, either way, you guys, and I'll stop and you guys can backfill this and have a little conversation with it, or maybe I'll let you attempt it. Do you like, and again, this is my trial balloon with you guys. Do you like the flow of that? Do you like the quote simplicity of that line of questions?
Yes, it's almost directional. And a lot of renters, they want to be led.
Okay. Any other comments?
I think for me, it's also educational because you're explaining to people in a way something that they don't have the answer to. So you're educating them and walking them through the process. So I think that's great because that's what people need is information. But when you're telling them something, first, sometimes they shut off. But when you educate them and ask them, what is it they want to do, and then provide them the information. I think this was really great because it kind of takes down the defense.
Okay. Any takeaways from that? Then we'll go on. I want you to take away, we've talked about it before, this is just a different way. Renters are guaranteed to lose. So let's do that. Let's have someone, John, maybe they'll have a volunteer raise their hand to be an agent. Someone can be a potential buyer. Let's see if someone can follow that format. They can ad lib if they want. And let's take about 6 minutes and do a role play.
I'll be a buyer.
Thank you, Archie.
Oh, you're touch to lay down though, Archie. You'll have to toughen up a little bit.
So Denny, last week, Willie participated a lot. So I'm just going to call him out and have him be the agent. See, look at that. He's right at it. Yep, I got it.
Yep.
All right.
So
Willie
make
and
sure,
Archie.
John, make sure that he uses, states the model first, right?
Okay. Willie, do you have the model written down so you know it?
I don't. I came in a few minutes late.
Okay. So the model is, as a refresher, everybody, the model is 4 steps: acknowledge the objection, isolate the objection, handle the objection or address it, and then close. The key is you don't get to go to step 3 until you've completely isolated. So the simple isolation question is, other than that, is there anything keeping you from going forward? That's the mindset you have when you ask the isolation question. All right?
All right,
Awesome.
6 minutes. Let's go.
All right. Ring, ring.
Now, this is going to be not a call. It's going to be you wouldn't be able to do that on
Face to face.
Yeah, this would be at an appointment. And the objection, Archie, is I'm a buyer. You determine if you're a renter or not, and I don't know if now is the time to buy.
Perfect. Yeah, hello.
Hey, Archie. I'm William Musgrove with the Lauhe Group. I was just calling to see if you need any assistance from the Lauhe Group. Are you currently buying or renting?
I am currently renting, but I just don't know if now is a good time to buy because I don't want to possibly buy and, I lose value if the market drops.
I understand, Archie. I'd hate to see anyone lose their investment, especially an investment, this important and large. Let me tell you, how much money are you getting back by renting?
How much am I giving back?
Or getting back?
Oh, getting back.
Yeah.
You mean like from my taxes or something, or what do you mean getting back?
Well, I'd like to see you, get back any investment, any large investment, especially monthly payments. I'd like to see you get something back from that. And, investing in real estate is one of the few investments you can actually live in. So I was just wondering if there was any benefit to renting in your opinion.
Well, I know that right now, as far as renting goes, I know that I've got a good job here and I know I need to stick at least here for 5 years. So that's the reason why I'm kind of thinking about buying, but I just don't, afraid to lose if the market goes down.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, there has been no sign of any of my past clients losing. They all seem to have a 4% hike. Let me tell you, if we were to get you into a home, wouldn't you like to have even 80 or 90% return on your investment monthly?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that would be a great opportunity if that's something that I know that I could be guaranteed.
Oh, Archie, I can't guarantee it, but in my past clients' experience, I have seen that, and current market reports indicate that there has been a rise in equity consistently throughout the past few years. Let me tell you, could we sit down and maybe talk about the figures and options?
You are sitting down.
You're right. You're right. Can we set an appointment to talk about the figures and options?
Already at the appointment.
Oh, so sorry.
You're at my
Okay.
house.
Gotcha.
You're at my
All right.
rental.
Well, darn it. All right. Well, Archie, I'd like to take the opportunity to at least show you some homes, get you pre-approved, and start making that equity that I think everyone deserves.
All right, let's stop. That's about 3.5 inches. I cut it off a little short. So, John, you want to debrief that?
All right. I've written down a couple notes on this. Let's start with this. Willie, what did you think you did well?
I acknowledged and I tried to isolate, but I did not handle or close.
Okay. So what do you think you can improve on?
The actual isolation, and to be able to handle it a bit better, to handle his objection a bit better, and
Okay.
to lead more towards a close than
All right.
another appointment or another conversation.
Archie, other than being confused about whether or not we were at the table or on the phone, how did you feel about the conversation?
My feel about the conversation is I thought that we needed to clarify a little bit more what I would probably get out of being I'm gonna buy in the what I'm gonna save for buying now than having to wait. Because if I wait for the next year, maybe 3 years, that we're gonna be in the same place as we are now.
Perfect. Perfect.
Excellent. So, Willie, remember the model, and remember, even though everyone on this call, we're all professional real estate agents, we understand the realtor mindset. Archie's not a realtor in that case. Okay. So the model is acknowledge, which you did. I get it. Isolate. Archie, and use his words back at him. Other than being concerned about overpaying, or whatever word he used, is there anything else from keeping you moving forward? And then stop. Let him answer. That's the isolation. You went into a few things where you said, you know, I'd like to show you this, or I'd like to do this. Remove I from your vocabulary. Everybody, remove I from your vocabulary in these conversations, because it is never about us. And then the other thing, Willie, is don't set expectations. Denny always says, don't put your DNA on it. All right, you're going to end up being in a CSI scene, and you don't want that. Don't put your DNA on it. I cringed when I heard, you know, some of my clients are seeing 80-90% return. Wouldn't you like to see that? Ouch. There's an expectation that, Archie, you felt it too, didn't you, buddy?
I did. I wanted to see it.
Yeah, I know, right? So you're setting an expectation that you have absolutely no way of knowing if it's ever going to happen. So
Well, let me ask, John, let me ask the people on the call, if I can see, and you can put it in the chat. When you heard that, did you think it was believable?
John,
go ahead, Don. I saw you unmute. I know you got something.
Well, Archie, I wanted to ask Archie, I wrote down 3 times, and I cringed when he said, let me tell you.
Yes, I wrote it down.
Said it 3 times, let me tell you. And then there were a lot of statements. And what Agni and I role play with is, Denny, may I share something with you? Get permission, and then you tell them what you want to tell them. But to say, let me tell you something, or let me tell you, that's all about me and not about him. So I felt it was more about you, Willie, than about Archie.
Perfect.
Yeah, one more thing, we'll go on to the next one, and get ready, Brian or somebody else's experience, and it doesn't have to be something like that. I'd like to have your camera on if you're going to participate. A couple different things. I'm going to ask Willie, for the benefit of everybody on the call. I'm confused. He's a renter, right?
Yeah,
Willie?
he is a renter.
Did he want to buy a home to live in, or did he want to buy it as an investment?
That's a good question.
Wanted to buy to live in.
Well, I would have guessed he wanted to buy it to live in. However, the way that you were handling it, it was like you were talking to an investor. So you want your home to be an investment. However, when you're talking about a home, I think it's a different conversation. So other than that, sorry to use that word again, you kept referring to getting money back. Getting money. In fact, he wasn't even on the right to be in the call. You kept saying getting money back. What were you referring to?
Equity, return on the monthly investment.
Well, what's the problem? I mean, is there a possibility that we could make a statement like that we're very familiar with what we mean? However, if you're talking to somebody who's going to be a potential homeowner, do you think they might not fully understand what that means?
Yes. Yes.
And the other things you've already talked about, you said lose if the market goes down. Let me tell you that we already pointed it out, and the 80 to 90% return, you lost me there. So, and it's okay, Willie, thank you for that. And who's going to be next? Let's stay on the same scenario. You're having a face-to-face with a potential buyer, And if somebody else and we can, so I just need an agent. I need an agent. And I would love to see someone use what I shared with you because I didn't see any of that in there. Who's up for the agent, John?
Brian just unmuted. I think he is. Yep.
I'll try and
Brian Hood's up.
I'll take a shot at the agent.
Awesome.
Who's that, Don?
Brian.
All right, who's the buyer?
Don, you want to be the buyer? All right. Don Aldridge is the buyer. Brian Hood is the agent. You guys are face to face. Go.
Hi, Don. I understand you're thinking about purchasing a home. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, my rent just shot up from 2,800 to 4,200, and I don't want to stay here forever, but I don't know if it's a good time to buy or not, Brian.
Oh, boy, I understand that. So you're renting right now. Is that, just to make sure I understand, you're renting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what's your rent going up to? What'd you say it was?
Well, for 4 years, it was 2,850, and then overnight it went to 4,800. I negotiated down to 4,200. I don't want to, 4,200 can get me into a nice house. I'm concerned though, that if I buy now, I'm going to lose out on buying later. Maybe I should wait.
Okay, well, let's say you wait and you keep renting. I'm not going to throw too much math at you, but
Wait.
Yes. Uh-oh.
You didn't
Do
go
you
through the
wanna win?
model. What's the model? You did acknowledge. What else? What didn't you do?
Oh,
Isolate.
Other than that,
well, I was going for the
It's
how much
Other
rent
than
is
that,
that?
Don, is there anything keeping you from moving forward?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
let me, Brian, you might have done that. And I want to reiterate for the folks on here why I don't really like that idea. It's kind of like loading your car up and you got to get the kids ready, blah, blah, blah. And, you're late, you're on the phone, and then you take, you've got your hands full. And so you lay your billfold on the bumper of the car or your purse while you're getting everything ready. Now, why is that a bad idea?
drive off and leave the purse.
Yeah, people have drove away and left the baby in a car seat on the top of the car. And so we all have done that. And so, Brian, you might be disciplined enough to remember you've got your wallet on the hood of the car or the trunk of the car before you drive away. It's just not good practice. Get everything on the table first. And then that way you don't forget it. That's why I believe that. So just say other than that. And from a time standpoint, Don, just say no. Go, Brian.
Don, aside from that, what other objections do you have? What would prevent you from buying?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, let's go further. If you were going to purchase, would you be paying cash or would you be financing?
Well, I'd be financing.
Okay. What kind of price range are you looking at?
All right, we're not going to go through the qualifying questions because that's not going to help you.
Okay,
Shouldn't he gone right into the, well, Brian, do you want to win or do you consider yourself playing not to lose?
okay, I skipped that part. I acknowledge the rent, but I didn't go in further than that. Okay, I get it.
Well, before you go forward, why did I stop him from going through what do you want on your ice cream sundae? Going through the qualifying questions. Why did I stop him?
I may be allergic to ice cream. It's not even something I wanted to discuss.
All right, now you're confusing me with my own metaphors. Okay,
Maybe
so
you want a cone, not a sundae.
now I have no idea. I should stop using metaphors like that because I don't want you boomerang them back at me. I don't know what you're saying. Here's why. That's our default.
Yeah.
And it doesn't move you forward.
Right.
You can spend 45 minutes on them telling you what they want in a home. It doesn't change the fact they're afraid to buy now.
Right.
At some point in time, you're going to have to do surgery. Get it over with.
Go ahead, Brian, cut me.
Okay, Don. Is there anything that's keeping you from making a purchase now? What would hold you back?
We're past that. So you're not going to get that question.
Okay.
You said no.
No,
Reverse it, Don. Take it over. You're going to use some of the stuff that I had.
yeah. So Brian, let me ask you, do you consider yourself a guy that, do you play to win or do you play not to lose?
Oh, I want to win.
You want to win, right? Okay. And with your rent right now, you already alluded to the fact it just went up. What's the chance in the next year, 2 years, 3 years from now that your rent's going to stay the same?
Oh, probably zero.
Probably zero. And
Now, I'm going to advance him a little bit. What if he said stay the same or go up? Which one sounds more painful?
Go up.
go up.
Yes. So use the more painful. What's the probability it's going to go up again?
Got
Okay.
it. So Brian, if it already went up a couple of months ago, what's the probability it could go up again?
I think it's a strong possibility it's going to go up.
A strong possibility, right? And as a renter, what's the chance of you gaining equity in that scenario?
I'm renting. I don't.
What's the number?
There's no zero. There's no equity.
Right, zero. And people that buying right now, what's their chance of building equity if they buy right now?
I think it's pretty good.
I agree.
That's just you added something there when you say buy right now. That's a dangerous addition.
Okay.
The way I said it, and I know you only heard it once, to make it a true statement. Brian, people that have owned over time or rented over time, in the end, who generally comes out on top financially?
Over time, who has fared better in real estate? Brian, owners or renters?
I would have to say owners.
You're right.
Then now you're going to ask them what percent of the time.
Oh, what percent of the time?
I would guess every time.
Right. So you understand the odds maybe probably stacked against a renter?
Yeah, I believe you. I think that's true.
So do you want to win at this game or play not to lose?
Oh, absolutely. I do not
want to win.
I want to play not to lose. I want to win.
Can we talk about getting you into a home in the next 30 to 60 days?
Yeah,
So-
I think that will be good.
Another way to ask that question. So what would you sit down at a slot machine that you were guaranteed to lose? Every month you put in your $4,200 and pull the one-arm bandit, and you're guaranteed to lose. Does that sound like a definition of insanity?
Sure does.
Yeah.
All right. So are you all getting a kind of a clearer picture of where I'm going with this?
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing I want you to remember is that when people fear stepping into the market, you've got to get their focus off. It doesn't matter what happens in the next 12 months if they have a long-term horizon. They think they're losing if the home went down 20% in the next 2 years. They haven't lost. One more thing. If you're talking to an owner, I've said this, I just want to say it again. They've owned for the last 5 years and they want to complain about the prices going up. What weapon do you have to use against them on that?
What weapon do I have to use against the prices going up? What weapon?
John, you know.
How have the past 5 years treated you?
Very well.
And if you feel prices are still going up, wouldn't you want to continue riding that train?
I would.
Yeah, the point, you're right. John's on it. The point is, what happens when you go into a casino with $100 and now you've got $1,000 in winning? So you've got your 100 plus 1,000. Now you put the 100 back in your pocket and you walk out at least break even. Now you're playing with what?
House money.
There you go. Their equity, they're complaining about the higher price. However, they're not paying it. The market gave them the money. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's not like they had to go into their, no, they've got their money in their pocket. All right, so were there anyone, John, does anyone have a request, or you might have something you would like to add, or another direction? I think you're going to get this a lot from buyers. I want you to be somewhat proficient and comfortable with this.
We don't have anything in the chat box at this point, Denny, but I'd like to hear what you guys are running into in the field. What sort of questions and concerns are you coming up with, whether it's buyers or sellers? And maybe you knew how to handle it, and that's okay. We still would love to hear what's happening. And
well, the good old.
Go ahead, Whit.
Oh, but if I buy now at 800 and in a year it's worth 700. But I understand the long-term aspect of it, how to explain that. But what is the initial objection handler? I don't want to be the example. I want to learn from somebody else.
Yeah, okay, so I get it.
Well, let me, John, let me just ask her a question. Yeah. You are that potential buyer, I guess, right? All right, so it goes down. It goes down, right? In a year.
Yep.
Will you be selling it?
No, and I understand the cyclical aspect of it, but I mean, what is the objection for these people that are going, oh, well, what if I can buy it in a year for this? And I'm like, well, what if you couldn't?
Well, I'm asking you to do the role play. I'm trying to role play. So,
sure, sorry.
Get in character, Whit. Get in character.
Okay, ready, go.
Well, just real quick. So, you know, you can buy it for less, right?
Yes.
All right. Are you sure that you can buy it in a year for less?
No, but I keep reading about recessions and that rates are going to drop and home values are going to even off.
So what if I could show you an article dated 1 year ago where publications were saying the same thing? Now, do you think those publications were accurate?
No.
And do you think that basically that the buyers made a mistake by waiting a year?
Yes.
And in your area, do you have any idea how much homes went up in value in the last year?
Yeah, over 25%.
So if your average sales price there was 400, what is that, 40, 80? That's $100,000 boo-boo.
Yes.
Do you want to roll the dice on that happening to you this next year? That's one way.
Yep.
You've got to take them back. And here's the other thing. One more way of doing that is that what percent of people out there, you guys, were surprised by how well the market did the last year? I don't know of anyone, if they're totally honest and upfront with you, would, oh yeah, I knew it'd do this. The greatest market in the history of mankind, they knew. So they were wrong about the market. If they knew, they would have leveraged everything and bought anything for the last year, and they didn't know. So what makes them so smart about the future now?
You know what my aha just was? And
What?
It all comes down to motivation anyways at the end of the day. So they don't want to move and they're teeter-tottering and whatever. Maybe they don't really want to move that bad. But yeah, from a, let's say, business or lifestyle standpoint, it makes sense to move. But if you're fine where you're at and you're just like, oh, I'm willing to risk staying in place. Yeah, I don't know. That was just my biggest takeaway.
You're right.
So
I
thanks.
mean, you don't mind raising your family in your mother-in-law's closet. Well, then stay there.
Love that. Would never be in the mother-in-law's closet.
Denny,
Don, you've got something.
What I liked 2 weeks ago, I wrote down, it was talking about, you know, if you had a crystal ball a year ago, Denny, and I won't go into the script, but it was about is there a possibility that you were wrong about what happened now? And it was a great script. You know, how are you going to be so right going forward? Now, 2 weeks later, this script has evolved to put the blame on the publications, put the blame on the media, put the blame on the experts, and not the individual. That was great about, hey, the publications were wrong a year ago. What makes them so smart now? Instead of, hey, Denny, your crystal ball broke last year. You might make the same. It takes it off of you and places it on the experts. So I like that.
So let's do a role play with a buyer, and I'll make one statement on that. And John, let's go to a role play with a buyer that does not want to buy because the interest rates are up. This is the point I want to make, and I forgot to make it on TV. I want to give it to you. I have Google alerts on certain sources like Inman News and Lawrence Yun. We've talked about that before. I want to see what the headlines are that will then trickle down to make news stories. This morning, there were two headlines, two different publications. Tell me what you hear. And I don't have it in front of me. I just made a quick note. Home sales headed for a slowdown. I mean, that's what the headline said. All right. I flagged that email. Next one, I go down. I think it was Inman or one of them. Why I wouldn't worry about a crash. Now, what's your blink on those two things, those two headlines? What's your initial thought? Because I caught myself by having the wrong initial thought. Again, home sales headed for a slowdown. Uh-oh. Sounds bad. Somebody tell me what that means. Home sales headed for a slowdown.
Creating panic.
All right, so tell me now, when you hear the word slowdown, what went through your mind, Whit?
That nobody's moving.
Boom.
But
hang on, no, just hang on right there. Does anybody else just raise your hand? Think, okay, you were thinking, the end of time, Chicken Little, crash, bubble.
The sky is falling.
You guys, that's not what it says. So you're going down the interstate and you're going 75 miles an hour. You go to the off ramp. Now you're down to 55. How fast are you going? Fast or slow?
Slow.
No, well, you're going in a slowdown. You're still moving fast.
Have you seen though how Archie drives? 55 would be slow for him.
Well, it's hard to drive 55 in Arizona because there are too many old people like me, right, that drive slow. Do you all see what I'm saying? The article says it's going to slow down, and people are extrapolating that into a market correction. It's a slowdown. And yes, it's slowing down. The market is slowing because it can't keep up at 2021 pace. That's a V8 moment, guys. People are reading and then taking it from like NFL team had a good draft and they're guaranteed to win the Super Bowl. Come on. The second headline, why I wouldn't worry about a crash. Those things sound like two opposite ends of the spectrum. Slow down, why I wouldn't worry about a crash. It's the same message. And the market is going to slow down. It's not going to what? Crash. I mean, that's exciting to me. I feel like doing burpees.
So, Denny, I don't know if we've done it on this call in a while, and I'll just kind of throw it out there. You tell me if it makes sense to do this, but you've done an exercise with us before that helps bring clarity around our own assumptions. And that is real simple. I see a dog running. I want you guys to picture that dog running. Willie, what do you see?
I see it. I see it having fun. I see
Good.
it.
What kind of dog is it?
A husky.
Okay. Who saw a husky? Okay,
Oh.
Natalie saw a husky. Who saw a golden retriever or a cocker spaniel? Don, what'd you see?
A greyhound at the
Awesome,
track.
a greyhound. Was it sunny or raining? Were they in a field or at a park? Were they on the street? Were they in the woods? The point of it is when you have something when you have a headline as simple as the market's going to slow down, well, no crap. The space shuttle had to slow down. Okay. Have to think about it in context and dig deeper. Yes, we're never going to have a repeat of 2021. Not going to happen. 2022 is likely to be the second best market we've ever seen. I'm done, Denny.
All right. Well, let's do a role play on a buyer not wanting to move forward because of interest rates. Do we have a taker? Got to follow the model.
All right. I had a couple people I was going to call on, and unfortunately, we have some down voices today. So I'm just going to randomly call out Natalie. Would you like to be the would you like to be the buyer, or would you like to be the agent?
I'll try to be the agent.
All right. Now you're going to try. You will be the agent.
I
Good
will
job.
be the agent. I need practice. So yes.
Patricia, how you doing?
Good.
Good. You up for being the buyer who's worried about interest rates?
Yes.
That's the easiest role. Good job. All right. You guys are face to face, by the way, having this conversation. And go.
Hey, Patricia. Thank you so much for meeting me today.
You're welcome.
So, we're meeting.
The best way to start. I'm sorry, Natalie. The best way to start. Are you ready to move forward? The house we looked at today.
Okay. So, are you ready to move forward with the house that we're going to be looking at today?
Well, I'm still on the fence because I'm worried about the interest rates going up. I'm just really afraid, that I won't be able to afford it.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. You're hesitant because of the interest rates going up. In comparison to last year?
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to? Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So other than the interest rates going up, is there anything else that would prevent you from writing a contract on the house we're going to be seeing today?
No, just the interest rate right now is what I'm concerned about.
Okay. I don't remember. Have you been pre-approved?
Yes.
You have been. Okay.
And it was pre-approved at a lower interest rate. And so that's why I'm still, I like the figure that he quoted me. I feel comfortable with that working in my budget. But with now not being able to lock in a rate until, I find a house, I don't know if the interest is going to be much higher or, what I should do here.
So when you say that you were pre-approved before and you were comfortable with the rate that you were given, are you referring to last year or did that happen recently?
Oh, that just happened recently, because they're only good for, 90 days. And so I did it like in January. So it was a pretty good rate then. And now it's into the 5. So that's why I'm a little nervous from going from, low 3s, high 3s to 5 now. It's kind of like making the mortgage payment, a little bit more uncomfortable for what I was looking to want to do.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Time for surgery.
Oh, I'm trying to go from, okay, well, maybe bringing it down to a lower purchase price so that it would compensate for the higher interest rate. So how would I manage that?
So we're
Do
gonna
you know
call
if
a
you need to do
timeout.
that yet?
We're going to call a timeout. And so let's just have a conversation with, is it Mandalay?
Mailelis.
I can't say her name is Ray.
I know for like years now.
All right, let's have a conversation with her. And Patricia, you're frozen. Okay, so what does Ray need to know? Help her out. Somebody help her out.
Her motivation?
Nah, I mean, motivation is part of it. Yes, it's always important. Let me ask you, what questions do you have? Now, like when John said you see a dog running, now I'm going to switch metaphors and say, okay, now you're attempting to understand her picture in her mind. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. She's mentioned a couple different things. Somebody help her out. Just what questions should she be asking now?
You still
What's the difference in terms of dollar amount of what Patricia is afraid of going up?
I missed part of that, but I think I know what you said. Say it one more time.
To find out what is the dollar amount that will
Yes.
increase on the interest rate that Patricia is afraid of.
Absolutely, because right now you're talking rates. We're not talking what? Monthly,
Payment.
Payment.
Hmm.
So how do you know she can't afford it? How does she know she can't afford it? So I've been giving you a hint. Now I'm gonna wake her back up, and now you're live. Take over.
Okay, Patricia. So based on the conversation you had with your lender, what was the monthly rate that he had quoted you?
Monthly rate, I think it was like 3.9, 3.75, somewhere in there.
Now you're confusing me. You either want monthly investment as in payment or annual rate. When you say monthly rate, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm confusing
Anybody else
myself.
lost? What is it? What is a
I'm
monthly rate?
lost.
So, Madeline, try not thinking about it from a rate standpoint
Okay.
and simplify it. So, Patricia, when you sat down with the lender the first time, do you recall what your monthly payment was?
yes.
And what was it?
It was a little over 2,000. I think it was 2,050 for the month.
Okay. Okay. And with the change in rates, how much do you think your payment is going to go up?
I really don't know, but I figure with this percentage points, that may add a couple more $100 where, that would, would make me as comfortable if I, got close to 2,500 for a rent, for
Okay.
more.
I can appreciate
Hang
that.
on
Go
one
ahead,
second.
Dan.
Quick time out. 50% of the people you talk to that bring up rates will have not figured out. No one's bothered to show them what the difference in the monthly investment is. You've got to get off rate and get on dollars. Keep going, John.
All right. So, and Patricia, remind me, are you currently renting or?
Yeah, she's renting.
Yes, I'm renting.
Awesome. So Patricia, this is actually really good news. Because what do you think the chances are over the next couple of years that your rent will go up?
Oh, probably 100%. Yes.
Wouldn't you like to lock in that same payment right now for the next 10, 20, 30 years, never have that worry again?
Yes, I would.
Awesome.
How are you going to do that?
By buying.
No. I want her to say that.
Oh, well, how are you going to do that?
No, I'm asking you.
We're asking you as
how
the
are you
agent.
gonna
How are you
do
going to do that?
Oh, I'm the agent now?
No, I'm still the agent.
Oh,
Denny
okay.
and I are asking you. You're the buyer. So, Patricia, how are you going to do that? How are you going to lock in and guarantee your payment for the next couple decades?
Well, logically sitting here thinking about it, only way I can do that is by purchasing.
Can you see why you want to bring them around for them to say that?
Yes.
Yes.
Then you can land the plane easily. John, John went right to it. I mean, that's why I was waiting for him. And another easy question would have been, okay, well, Patricia, how much is your rent?
Just 1,500 a month.
Okay, and you said you don't know what your new monthly investment would be based on the interest rate?
Correct.
So of the $2,050, well, let me ask you, if you found, and we can figure that out if you have a second, we can figure that out. And let me ask you, if it were doable, would you decide maybe you'd like to start building equity for your family?
Most definitely, yes.
Okay, so I'll let somebody finish. Anyone, John can finish it. He's a numbers guy. Let somebody else finish if you want to. It's $300 a month more. $275 a month more. So land the plane. That's the difference based on the rate.
So, Patricia, the difference is about $275 a month. So, are you going to let about $1 a day come between you and your family's future like that?
No, I mean, since I know the figure.
$10 a day. Sorry, $10 a day. One trip to Starbucks.
Yeah. Well, since I know the figure, I mean, it makes more sense now. I mean, I can spend that at Costco. So
there you go.
You reduce it to the ridiculous. Then take it one more level, guys, and we'll call it quits. So get your ahas. There's one more benefit from owning, and you're going to want to use it on these people if they're renting. What is it?
Security?
Equity.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, let's stay with the dollars. How do you have a conversation with them that so can you afford the $275 in your monthly investment, Patricia?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Well, that may be yes. Just say, man, I don't feel comfortable.
Oh, I don't feel comfortable.
Well, what if I could show you that owning the house is cheaper than renting? Would that interest you?
Yes.
How do I do that, guys? So when she makes her first monthly investment, notice I don't call it payment, of $2,050, or it's going to be actually what we said. Let's say it's going to be $2,300. How much of that is interest?
90%.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah.
So let's just
Actually,
say
Denny, it's about 80% of its interest.
2,200, let's
I've
say.
The amortization schedule right here. I know no one can see it, but yes, it's about 80% interest.
It's a tax benefit.
Yes. So 30% of that of $1,800, let's just say is at 0.3. That's $540. Uncle Sam's going to rebate her on her taxes for her interest deduction. Now, don't get me in the weeds on if she itemizes or not. Most people buying homes probably itemize. I don't know. I'm not an accountant. I just know there is tax relief on your interest, correct?
Correct.
So if you're going to get again, you be careful not getting people in the weeds on numbers. I'm just telling you so you understand this. If you're getting, your payments, monthly investments, 275 more, yet the government's going to give you 500 back at the end of the year. In effect, your monthly investment is going to be much closer to your rent. And I'm not getting into the exact numbers. I just want you to understand that is another layer you can go down, particularly if they understand numbers. If they don't do it. They'll just go and not know have any idea what you just said.
Okay. Hey, Denny, quick. Could you tell me, the 4 questions that you were looking at asking a buyer, are you guaranteed to win or lose? What are the, I'm sorry, a renter, I'm sorry. What are your chances that your rent's gonna stay the same or go up?
Mm-hmm.
And there were 2, I thought you had 4 of them. What were the other 2 questions?
Okay. Well, first, do you want to play to win, or do you want to play not to lose? There's 2 types of buyers or owners out there. Buyers are either going to be renters or owners. If they're a renter, ask them what probability the rent's going to go up. You had that. I said 98%. Question 2, what's the chance, Archie, that you're going to build equity while you're renting?
Got it. Thanks.
And number 3, when you compare people that have rented versus people that have owned their real estate in the long term, who has fared better?
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.
You bet. John Boy, what do you think? Any other ahas? John, what do you think? How'd we do?
I think it was good. I like the fact we got to dive into numbers.
Oh.
And you can listen, you can show somebody you're paying $1,500 a month rent. You can actually buy a house that costs you $2,300 and it's the exact same money out of pocket.
Yep. And Brian didn't say anything today, did he, Brian?
Now, Bryant was uncharacteristically quiet today.
Yeah, he is. All right, guys. Well, that's awesome. Remember,
Maybe I got a couple of pages of notes here. Guys, I hope you're writing as fast as you can while we're on these scripts. This is golden stuff.
yes,
Look at Archie. Look at Archie.
It's posted to the YouTube channel. Thanks, Don. Go to Denny Grimes Master Real Estate. I want to get up to 500. We get to 500, I'll have a drawing, and I'll for 2 tickets to Greece. I love that movie. Speaking of movies, don't miss Top Gun 2 coming out soon. Be careful out there.
Really got overly excited on that one.
Oh, Top Gun, that movie's amazing. Yeah, it's definitely in the top 5.
See you guys. Thank you, John.
All righty, guys, we'll see you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.
Don't.
Thanks, Denny.
Later.